Thank you. Thank you. Any corrections or additions? Seeing none, the minutes will stand as read. Thank you. Our treasurer's report. Mary, will you be so kind as to give us the treasurer's report?
Okay, well, most of the numbers you will see in the annual report. One of the things that I want to say is that we have an incredible giving congregation. This last year, our income, if you will see, our total income was $238,894 and some cents. And we spent less than we anticipated. We only spent $224,474 and some cents. So we spent under our budget that we actually planned by $1,000. So we were healthy, very financially healthy. And so it's a very easy to be a treasurer for this congregation. One thing I do want to point out is that we have a very giving congregation. We are able to meet and spend 31% of our entire income towards mission. And some of those missions, as you know, are global, some is local, and some is just for the church body supporting our church as an organization nationally and internationally. One thing that we did do this year, as you will see in the pastor's report, we put new siding on the parsonage, and some of our congregation was very giving, gave us $26,000 to help pay for that. We didn't even spend that much. We only spent about $23,000, a little less than that. So our building fund actually increased even though we spent money towards that. Some of the other funds, we didn't spend a lot of money. We did spend and give some money locally from our local missions fund that went to the elementary school to help with their after-school program. And then also, because of the Bale fire, we had a significant outpouring of funds that we were able to give to them specifically to help them through this financial crisis. So I want to say that, if you have any questions specifically how we spend our money, please let me know. I think we've done very well financially. So I just have to give it back to you as being an incredible congregation.
Thank you, Mary. We appreciate all your hard work on our financials. Do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Move to approve as presented. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. It's approved. Pastor's report. Pastor Baer?
My report is printed in the program. With our centennial a few years ago, I learned that it was really helpful if annual reports contained what happened. It seems like I'm the historian, so I put in my report almost everything the council did all year, so you can get a good sense of the things that happened throughout the year. The two things I always want to highlight in my report are the thank you at the beginning. It usually reads the same, but it's just thank you to everybody that does everything. So, and just to know that you're appreciated and that we are grateful for all of you, and hopefully we're all grateful for each other. So that, and then the confession at the end has also been a tradition of mine for all my years of ministry. I am reminded now and then of how I fail you, and always want to be mindful of God's forgiveness and hopefully yours as well as we work together. So otherwise, it's all there. You can look at it, and like I said, a lot of it's just details on what happened. Any questions that anyone has of me? Okay, I'll sit down.
Thank you, Pastor. And I'm particularly struck by the humility of our pastor. Continuing business. I don't believe we have any, unless anyone out there has some. New business, the remodel of the chancel. Maybe ask Pastor Bear to cover that, please.
I think most of you have been a part of conversations around the way about wanting to do some changes up here, mostly for safety purposes. You've witnessed, I'm sure, some of the falls over the last few years, and the goal is that we have fewer, or maybe none would be really nice, no falls. And so looking at safety, if you didn't pick up a gold sheet and you have a annual report that isn't recent, so the ones that I put out last week have been updated. So if you have one at the top, if you picked one up at the back today, how you can tell if you have the updated sheet is if it has a dollar figure on the bottom, you have the updated sheet. Okay, but the gold sheets, just give an update on, we had that open forum last Sunday, got some input from people about ideas they had. Just to highlight what came out of that conversation, the plan is to raise the lowest step to the standard 7 inches that a step would be. And for Sunday, we're just going to, or whenever the next time, the first phase of the project is going to be to have the one step all the way across. And we'll get a taste, we'll do at least one Sunday of worship, well, probably just one. And then after that Sunday, we'll have a little forum like we did last Sunday, or just like we are right now, and try to get some feedback. And then at that point, we'll decide if we need to raise the altar a little higher, or the pulpit a little higher, the lectern a little higher, and what basic furnishings we want to do there. So that's kind of the plan, is a phase 1 with one step, everything safe and level, and potential phase 2 with an extra step. I don't know we have a phase 3 after that, but my guess is that two will probably be enough. And then the thing that got left over after the meeting last Sunday, we were pretty, in a straw poll, we were pretty well split evenly between the idea of moving to a solid flooring, probably a vinyl planking like we have over here, or something else, a vinyl planking up here, or to do carpeting throughout the aisle and up here. So the theory would be, if we do the vinyl planking, we'll leave the carpeting in the aisle, was kind of the feedback we got last Sunday, and do vinyl up here, or else do carpeting all the way through. And like I said, it was roughly 50-50 last week, so we said we'll leave that for the annual meeting to decide. And so that's, I think the big question is, do we do it, and then what kind of flooring? And I'll offer one piece of comment. I don't know how many of you saw me spill a big glass of water this morning. As I did that, I thought, that could make me think either way. One is, if we had vinyl, I would have had to stop the service and get it cleaned up. So carpet would just absorb it and go away someday. The other side, that could have been a glass of Diet Coke, which would have been way easier to clean up if it was vinyl, and harder if it was carpet. So it doesn't help you at all, but the spill reminded me that spills might happen. So, any questions about this? Tony has been kind of spearheading this for us, so he's got a lot of answers. But I have at least the ability to speak in front of people, and I think I know all the answers, or at least who to ask if I don't. Any questions? I think we've talked about it enough, and like I said, we're not done talking. So the phase 1, if it's approved, will be just that first step, and if Rich goes quick enough and it happens next Sunday, we would have a meeting and you'd have a chance to tell us what you think. So, yeah.
Maybe mention what was brought up about the sound.
When they get to the point of debating carpet versus vinyl, one of the things that was brought up is, from a sound perspective, will less carpet liven the sound in the chancel and make it louder? You might hear footsteps, or singing might be a little better. Or, will reducing the carpet liven it or make it too lively? Or You know, and again, we probably won't have quite as good a quality carpet as we have now in the aisles. Something that's less thick might not absorb as much sound either, so. But is that what you wanted, Brenda? Okay.
One of the things that I thought of in this past week, since we met last week in here, and the issue of sound came up and how we could deal with that or how it might affect it, is that we could almost make that question a two-stage question also, and proceed with the remodeling, the hard work, the framing, and try it for a Sunday or so and see what we think of the acoustics with the hard surfaces up here. If we like it, then we could surface it. If not, we could carpet it. Yes?
So, but your plywood is gonna make it softer than your vinyl? Your plywood is rough, so you can't really compare your wood to the vinyl, because the vinyl bounces that sound a whole lot more.
Yeah, it's not gonna be exact. That's true. It will be more like the vinyl than the carpet.
And just to let you know what we're hoping to get from you today, the resolution that's on the bottom there just gives the council permission to go forward, gives them a top number, which we estimate is way high, but we want to not have another meeting, and so that's part of why we picked the number we did. It's authorizing the council to do it without you. So they will make any decisions that you give to them. But I can speak for myself, and I'm guessing the council. I've said this to you many times before. I like to divide the blame as widely as possible, and credit as well. So part of it is we want as many people as possible to help make that decision so that it's more likely to be, you know, at least, like I said, you won't point at me and tell me that I screwed up, so, or think.
Commercial, the goal of a remodel project that's done properly and well is one that visitors come in and they never knew that we remodeled.
Sure.
You know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I know we have some quality, very adaptable people in this congregation that will probably, if this isn't gonna be contracted out, I'm very sure that this is gonna be a nice project and will look very nice to not only to us, but to everybody else.
Good. Well, thank you. It is our intention thus far to contract it out, that we have a contractor who has quoted a number. That's what our budget is based on. So, any other discussion? Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes.
On the cost, approximate cost, I'm sure everybody's aware of the increases in all costs and labor and materials and stuff, and I'm just wondering if that figure isn't a little low compared to what the end cost is going to be. Because anytime you do remodeling, you're going to run into items that you can't see from, from the start.
Sure.
So, should there be a little flexibility in that dollar?
We think we've built in a lot of flexibility. The bid that we got was in a previous phase of the plan, so it was with more steps, so more work, and with the vinyl. And it was like $3,000 lower than what we have. So we put in a $3,000 cushion for contingencies. And like I said, and it was bidding more things than we're actually thinking about right now.
David, are we able to use the number that was the stage?
We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Save some money if we don't have to.
Yeah. We'll know a whole lot more once we get this, torn out. Maybe that bottom base is all the way back and great, and we just add a piece of plywood on the top, and the first phase is easy. But we don't know for sure, or maybe you do. You've crawled under there before, but.
All I see is subfloor. So
Okay.
can't see what's above.
Yeah. So, we think we have a padding built in, but I'm sure the council would be open to a bigger number if you want to give us more cushion. We can always come back if we need to, but the goal is not to have to come back. And then, and in terms of the vinyl question and carpet, my guess is if you don't want to offer a straw poll or more in feedback, that we'll get more feedback next week or whenever we are in that phase. But I know we want to spread the blame around, so.
Yes.
If you had something today, whatever figure you might come up with, that's a guess. Further down the project, you'll be closer to the actual number.
That's correct. Any further number we add to it is a guess. To this point, we feel we have a pretty good base to operate from, based upon a quote, and we added, probably roughly 20% to that to get the figure before the congregation. But it's remodeling, and we all know about that. So, okay, yes?
Does that include changing the heat?
Yes, it does. Any other discussion?
It also includes extending the communion ramp. The pulpit will go away. And we will have similar podiums on each side.
That part's still kind of up in the air, but in terms of the plan.
Okay. Any further discussion? We appreciate your input, everybody. So we have a motion. All those in favor? Aye. And opposed? Thank you. Thank you. Again, appreciate your input. Elections. We have the nominating committee report. Yes, and you'll find that on page 4.
The nominating committee was myself, Bob Haywick, Rich Meemeyer, Tony Rowd, Ginger Smith, and Julie Westbrook. Conclusion of numerous meetings, of which I didn't even get to attend them all. The two that are going to be nominated today for next year's council membership is going to be Ryan Aldrin, and Bob Haywick has put himself in the nomination to serve another term.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your report. So we have 2 names on the floor.
Do you want to deal with each of them separately, or do you want to deal with the whole here together?
Preferably the report from the nominating committee is both of them.
So we're still short 2 nominating committee members, and then if anybody wants to go to the convention, we could get that. But I'd like at least to come out of this meeting with a full slate for the nominating committee. The other option would be to ask to refer that to the council if you can't come up with 2 more names today. But we need some action authorizing the council to move forward or nominating 2 more people.
Well, can we first address the
Council?
nominations to the council?
Yeah.
We have 2 names on the floor. All right, we have a motion to cease nominations and cast a unanimous ballot. All those in favor? Aye. And opposed? Thank you. Members for the nominating committee next year, are there a couple people here right now that would like to serve on that committee? Okay, we go into arm twisting mode after the meeting. So, thank you. Thank you for those who served. We appreciate it. Proposed budget, which you'll find on page 12 of the handout that you have. And Mary, would you review the proposed budget a little, please?
Yeah, we need to elect the people that have been nominated for the nominating committee and authorize the council to fill the vacancies. And same way with the churchwide meeting, we'll need to authorize the council to fill those. I would be willing to move that. How's that? To move that we elect the 2 people that have been nominated for nominating committee, or the 4 if we count the outgoing council members, and to authorize the council to fill the remaining positions, and that we authorize the council to select someone for the NELC convocation.
Okay, so we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Thank you, Pastor, for catching that. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? Thank you.
Dick, we did have a request that it would be helpful to the folks working on the project if we could at least do a straw poll on vinyl versus carpet today to get a sense of where this many people are, if that would be okay. Do you want me to ask
Sure.
the question?
Right ahead.
So the question is, if you would prefer to keep the carpet here and then put vinyl, what do you call that, laminate flooring up front, or to replace the carpet throughout. So it's carpet versus vinyl, that's the question.
Probably just laminate where you sit in case you spill.
Yeah. Well, if it's, yeah, exactly. Yes.
Are you still talking, there would be carpet?
If we do laminate up front, yep. I think that the conversations that have happened is we want, because of winter, to have carpet by the entryway and probably down the aisle, even if we move to laminate up front just for absorbing water. And this carpet is, Quails bought us a very nice carpet years and years ago, and it doesn't wear out because nobody walks on it hardly. So, so we have the option, laminate up front or carpet up front is basically the question. And if we change the carpet here, we'll change the carpet there.
Well, we don't have to change the carpet here.
Okay. So you would prefer, well, do you want a third question? Do you want to,
Yeah, because this is the carpet, might would just change color-wise.
just have it be consistent, you know, I don't know. I would just like to keep it carpet versus vinyl, and then you can come and lobby council to keep this carpet if you'd like it. Or we can, it's harder to try to match either way. But we could, and we could ask Richard to try to salvage this and reuse it too, but my sense was that they were ready for a new color, but, so carpet, yes, Mimi.
You were pointing to the floor here and saying it would be like this, is that what this?
Not necessarily, it's just a vinyl question. There is some, that's been an ongoing discussion. Some folks have suggested, it's laminated in the overflow. This is hardwood out here. Yeah, it's a laminate that was installed later, but. Okay. Oh, that is hardwood, okay. But it was click together tile. It wasn't, that's what I was thinking. It wasn't actual wood installed, it was click tile from Menards. So, yeah. And this is just a straw poll, unless you want to turn it into something more than that. Okay.
Actually, this wood underneath this is hickory and that's oak.
Yeah. I like the idea of redoing all the stains and making everything match throughout, but there. So I'll ask the question and then we can move on. All those who would prefer carpet in the chancel, raise your hand. Is someone counting? All those who would prefer laminate, is that the question? Laminate flooring in the chancel? Hard, yeah, okay. That's helpful to the committee.
Now, I'd have to add a quick footnote for you. I don't believe the quote was based on replacing all the carpet. So we'll have to see what impact that has.
Well, but the carpet can be cheaper than
Yes, that could be, but that is a little different than what was actually priced, so. All right, thank you. We appreciate your input. Mary, back to the budget?
Generally, when you're preparing budgets, you pretty much look at what you spent the year before and decide if you think things are going to change. You make some additional changes. Well, we really aren't making too many changes. One thing, we're hoping that you'll approve that so that we can move forward with that. Otherwise, there's not a lot of changes. We did decide in our mission, since we did so well this last year, we did add an additional percent. Instead of doing 31% for our missions, we are now going to do 32%, which is only an additional 1%. It's just that we felt there was a need for that. One thing that you will note, that I do want to note, is that last year we supported the Genesis Lutheran Church in Piedmont. They have closed. And in your notes, you'll see that they gave us back $11,000, which we voted to go ahead and put it into our local mission fund so that as needs arise, we would have those funds available to do that. Are there any questions on any, if you've had this chance to look at the budget, are there any questions on how we put that together? If you have any questions later or have any concerns, please let us know. We'd like to address those as they come up. But I guess what we are looking for today is approval for this new budget for 2025.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. I'll add one small item in discussion just to draw your attention to the fact the total budget went up about 3.5%. So considering the inflationary forces of today, I don't think that's too bad. So, okay, any further discussion? If not, those in favor? Aye. And those opposed? Okay, it's been moved that we are in adjournment. So thank you very much. We appreciate your being here, and thank you for your input.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, if you ever put that platform. All right. So it won't be any different than this one. That would be. Right. Yeah, I just think it's gonna be.
Yeah, you know, and that's been my concern as well.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Right, right. So you think we could get that one together?
The real consensus is you have something the same size.
That one in there. It needs to be finished, but it's still, it's just, yeah, it's clean, yeah. No, well, I could, but we're gonna be gone from her, that's what I wanted to get on this.
You don't always expect that during the
No, we're leaving tomorrow. We're leaving tomorrow, so that's fine. Yeah, no, we're down there. Yeah. Well, our intent was to go down there. We haven't even seen it.
Shoot, I was gonna have them watch you walk out something done.
It's gonna go away though.
Right, but still, she were walking out with one hand. But this morning,
Trim board on that side.
Well, that's something to think about, because this, of course, this is gonna be all different, this is gonna be gone. We'll have to see.
Oh, yeah.
That's some fun, good music, good band. Did you watch? Did you see?
Is it that controlled?
I thought everybody was staring at me in that moment. You know how that is when you do something they thought. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I think it's supposed to, right.
And moving things around.
I think, before getting into it.
That's what I heard. I heard it, but I didn't know what it was. Well, it's good. It's different. Right.
How was it just went, he wants to make it
Yeah.
with the radiator, are you guys actually changing the radiator? Okay.
We decide all on one level.
Right.
And see those brown, darker, chances are we're gonna go with white.
Anyway, I don't think it's gonna be an issue.
that's those right here, those things on the side. Well, we added the air conditioning as an afterthought. Well, I'm gonna put that in there for years as well. Which, when it's, 20 and 30 below outside, me turning the auxiliary heat on in here makes the other stuff work better, the whole thing. But so we, and it's also like that way too, that if our hot water heat is down even for a few days while they're doing that, so it's the,
We had one, see, we had one.
They are gonna make it similar like.
no, that's not. That was the original plan.
Because it is true, like that, it makes it that narrow.
I mean, that's
Fiber,
like
that's
30
how much
years,
it is.
but
It's not a, and like I said,
it makes it really sometimes, it's not hard, this one.
the new trendy things come all the time. Grandma's going to church, that's what I think, this is all of us, our same years. It's great. That's kind of the newer thing. And that would be fine with me, and it makes that lake review distinction in a way that.
Yeah.
The lady
That
said
reminds
they're
me
like,
of my church from when I was 6 years old. Just exactly the same.
no, water,
The exact same. Oh, yeah. They had a bar, not even quite as big as this, but it was all everything. And this was the same exact footprint, same exact, beams, same exact color, everything was. Yeah.
Well, for sure, these over at least once. I worked for 8 years.
You know, my cousin. I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of just, so you can't make nice calls. I don't know if there isn't any family in there anymore.
Oh, it's exciting, it will be good. No, but I was just thinking they had talked about take a look at something that.
That was one thing, that one was turned off, that Mark said it was gonna be no quality. It's really light, if you, this,
Oh, that's a speaker generator.
That
it blocks
was,
your wind.
it's a small area and I know these are the steps.
What Joanne likes about this, I think, is that it helps hide the area. But you from the pretty basics.
And I did say that, but I thought there was something about that. For me,
Yeah.
I would want it either that way or the organ would, so that you have some, something, a little screen, a little something, that you're not just prominently.
See, and
Joanne likes it right here, and like me right there.
Oh, it's
That's
so
worked out
nice
really
for
well,
you
where we can
guys.
just visit back and forth, and she can say, okay,
And that's such a good thing.
And on the piano, I noticed that with, when she's on the piano and you're on the piano, I can't see you.
It's not the
So
same.
you can't just nod, even just nodding, you say, yes, I'm done, or,
Right. No, it's been, this is a good setup, but I do like something where you feel like you're not just right front and center, yeah.
I think these.
No, it's good, it's exciting, it'll be nice.
They both have, we have one in our house.
So we'll tell Joanne, I hope, I mean, we're just praying that how it's supposed to be will be.
and I'll let you, yeah, thank you. I'll let you know. That's her big fear right now is that.
I know that she was really anxious to get something, you know, it's gotta happen, so, but we'll just trust, I know that,